Hello and welcome to another lean tip of the day. Today's tip is a little bit different than others in that I got an email from Kevin at DecoQuip asking for a video about the waste of transportation. And truthfully, there's not a lot of good stuff out there, so I decided to make one. Okay, so let's talk about the waste of transportation. But first, let me clarify how transportation is different than motion. They can often be confused, especially when you're new to both of the wastes. The waste of motion really has more to do with the waste of human motion, of people motion. I like to say that you could do the hokey pokey all day long, pushing buttons, lifting stuff, and spinning around, but it's not creating value. So motion of people by itself does not create value. It's a waste. But transportation is different in that it's the movement of stuff, the movement of material, of product, of information, even if it's an email, that can all be regarded as the waste of transportation. Motion is people, transportation is stuff. Okay? And typically, the example given for transportation is trucks and forklifts and dollies and airplanes and trains and all these big vehicles that are moving stuff around. But today I want to talk a little bit in more detail and give some helpful tips to when it comes to the insides of an organization, because most of us don't really see the truck going out the door and don't really impact the truck going out the door, but transportation still happens within the confines of the four walls we work in. So what does that look like? The two tips I'm going to teach you is about location and batch size. So whenever you design a process or design production, when you departmentalize it, it lends itself towards the waste of transportation right off the bat. And the reason why is departmentalized design creates distance and requires transportation to go from one department to the next department. So the location of things really does matter. And when you departmentalize everything, you can sometimes instantly have to start conveying things with transportation. The alternative is to design for flow. When you have flow and things happen in a stream, they can be very close together and you can eliminate a lot of that transportation waste. And in a lot of my lean tips, I give examples from home. It's a little bit tougher to do, but there's a few examples. A house is actually designed, in my opinion, very departmentally. You've got the rooms for the kids, the rooms for mom and dad, the discrete bathrooms, maybe upstairs, downstairs, a kitchen that's standalone. It's very departmentalized. It does not lend itself towards flow. Now, I'm not saying that you should get out your house and change it. Maybe that'll work for you if you're single. But for most of us married folks, it probably doesn't work that way. But regardless, departmentalized design creates some transportation. Some examples within our houses would be things like doing the laundry, or if you got kids, how you stock up on diapers. The countermeasure we often come up with is to create multiple locations for inventory and multiple supermarkets, so that if I'm downstairs and all the diapers are stocked upstairs, I don't have to walk all the way upstairs, but instead I have a spot downstairs, so I'm doing less transporting of material. I mean, how terrible would it be if you had to go upstairs every time to get a diaper just to walk it downstairs to help out a kid? So that's often what we do at home, and it's often what happens within an organization. That's what departmentalized design looks like. But when you create flow and can stream everything together, you don't have to go from one department to the next, but things happen within arm's reach, frankly, and you get rid of a lot of that transportation. So location very much matters, and you can't totally eliminate departments, whatever that may look like. You can't eliminate it all the time, so then you got to really optimize what you do with material handlers and the like. But it's important to think about location and designing for flow. The second thing is batch size. So something interesting happens with batch size. When you have a small batch size, everything is lighter and it takes a smaller footprint, which lends itself towards flow. You can bring everything closer together. The product is not too heavy for a person to handle with their hands versus a forklift, and there's typically less transportation involved. But as you increase the batch size, eventually human nature is to start transporting things, because the bigger the batch size, the more things have to be spread apart, and also the heavier things become. It might get so heavy that a person can't even move it anymore, and you have to get some mechanization, whether that's a dolly or even a forklift. And the evils of a forklift is, if I'm working somewhere and I need material, but I have to wait on a forklift, then that creates a problem. That transportation is now creating the waste of waiting, and other consequences there. So at the very least, try and get it on wheels so that people can move stuff around. But ideally, you want to decrease that batch size. And when you do that, you can almost automatically get rid of transportation. So there's a few ideas about the waste of transportation. This has been a different video, but I wanted to make sure that found something of value for Kevin at DecoQuip. Hope you guys are having an awesome start to your year, and hope that this video is helpful to you when understanding the waste of transportation.
For more lean tips and sound advice for your lean journey, visit us at leansmarts.com.